domain mix scenario, some questions we are having in this domain. Let's start. Question number 41. A company wants is a static website asset served with a low latency worldwide and wants to serve them directly with from S3 without running any server. What is the best architect? So EC2 instance behind ALB serving static files. No, S3 static website hosting behind Amazon Cloud Fund. This will be the right answer because static website asset will low latency worldwide. If worldwide asking, we can go with the cloud front, and the with S3 we can go with the S3 static website hosting. That would be the right answer. No need to go with the option C or D. Because B is the right answer. Question number 42. A company needs a fully serverless workflow to orchestrate a multiple Lambda function in a specific order, including a retries and error handling for an order processing pipeline. Which service should it use? AWS step function, AWS SQS standard queue, Amazon event bridge alone, or AWS batch? So this question is asking for multiple lambda function in a specific order. So if anything we want in a specific order, we can go with the AWS step function, because AWS step function is a purpose built to orchestrate a multiple lambda function as a state machine with a built-in retry and error handling logics, and they are asking for the same. So we can go with the step function. Question number 43. A company wants to send a real-time notification to multiple different endpoints, email, SMS, and SQS whenever new order is placed. Which service should publish these notifications? SNS, SQS alone, Kinesis data stream, AWS Cloud Trail. So the question is asking for real-time notification to multiple different endpoints. We can go with the SNS, because multiple different endpoints, with the help of SNS we can achieve. When a new order is placed, we can go with the SNS. This will be the very easy, because SNS supports a fan out pattern with some multiple heritage subscriber types. We can go for the single publisher message. A company needs a near real-time analytics to on a continuous stream of the click stream data from a millions of users with multiple consumer leading same stream independently. Which service fits best? SQS queue, standard queue, Amazon Kinesis data stream, Amazon RDS, or AWS Snowball? The answer will be Kinesis data stream, because see, whenever the question asking for the near real time analytics, okay, continuous stream of the clicks or data, so the multi millions of users, we can go with the Kinesis data stream, because Kinesis data stream supports multiple independent consumers reading the same order real time data stream. Which is best? SQS is does not natively provide the to reading the data in real time. We can go with the option B. Question number 45. A company wants to migrate a large on-premises Oracle database to fully managed AWS service with a minimal downtime, and also wants ongoing replication during cutover period. What should it use? Amazon Database Migration Service, Snowball Edge, S3 Transfer Acceleration, or AWS Data Sync? As the question asking for the large on-premises Oracle database to fully manage AWS service with minimal downtime. So we can go with the Amazon Database Migration Service, because it supports a continuous data replication from a source database to target database. during the migration, minimizing a downtime during a cutover. So whenever the question is asking for the minimal downtime, we can go with the database migration service or migrating on premises database. Question number 46. A company wants to enforce that every new S3 buckets created in any of its AWS accounts must be encryption enabled without relying on manual review. What should it use? AWS config rules with automatic remediation, manual quarterly audits, IAM user policies only, CloudWatch logs alone. So the answer will be hmm, AWS config rules with automatic remediation, because config rules are continuous evaluate a resources configuration. This question is asking for the accounts must be encrypted without relying on a manual review. Okay, so it desires states and trigger automatic remediation when the violations are detected. We can go with the AWS config file. Question number 47. A company runs a containerized application and wants to avoid managing underlying EC2 servers entirely while still using AWS ECS. Which launch type should it use? ECS on EC2 launch type, ECS Fargate launch type, self-managed Kubernetes on EC2, or AWS Lambda containers only? Hmm. If a container application wants to avoid managing the underlying EC2 servers entirely, we can go with the ECS Fargate, because ECS Fargate is a serverless compute engine for container that removes the need to provision or manage the underlying EC2 instance. Unlike a EC2 instance is launch type, so we can go with the option B, ECS Fargate launch type. Question number 48. A company wants to route a users to the closest healthy regional endpoint of a multi-region application based on a latency with an automatic failover if the region becomes unhealthy. Which route 53 routing policies should it use? Simple routing, latency based routing with the health checks, wait routing only, or geolocation routing without health check? So we having, if a region becomes unhealthy, automatic failover, application based on the latency, multi-region application based on the latency, we can go with the latency based routing with the health checks, because they are asking for the application based on the latency, because latency based routings directly uses the region with the low latency and combined with the health checks, and it automatically tolls over the away from the unhealthy endpoints. Okay. Question number 45, 49. A company wants to give a external auditor temporary time limited access to the specific AWS resources without creating a permanent IAM user. What should it use? A permanent IAM user with the access key, a IAM role assumed via AWS STS with a limited session duration, sharing the root account credential, a public S3 bucket policy for the auditor's IP. So the answer is, see, the question is asking for the external auditor temporary time limited access to this specific AWS service without creating a permanent IAM user. So we can go with the IAM role assumed via STS with the limited session duration, because we are not asking for the permanent IAM user. So we can go with the limited session duration, because IAM rule assumed through the AWS STL provides a temporary and time-bound credential, scoped for the specific permission, ideal for the external or short-term access needs. So this is the last question. Question number 50. A company wants to reduce the blast radius of the security incident by ensuring Workloads in different business units cannot access each other resources by default. What is the best practice? Run all workloads in a single shared AWS account. Use a separate AWS account per business unit under AWS organization with the SCPs and least privilege IAM. Use one VPC for everything with permissive security group. Share a one IAM role across all the business units. So answer is we can go with the see question is asking for reduce the blast radius of the security incident with in a different business unit across the access the other resources by default cannot access. So we can go with the user separate AWS accounts per business unit under the AWS organization with the SCPs and least privilege IAM because they want but workloads in a different business units cannot access each other resources by default. So we can go with the separate AWS accounts per business unit and under the AWS organization.